Welcome into Bleacher Talk. I'm Jordan Spurgeon alongside Claudia Collins, and we're talking about playoffs today. It's already here. The postseason for 4A through the Open starts this week with the Open beginning next week, and got some perennial teams all over to cover. Some new teams making it back for the first time in a while. We're actually going to head out to Central High School for this show. Chandler Hovick has really turned that program around, so excited to catch up with him and some of his guys on their ability to make the playoffs this year. And then, of course, we'll have some social spotlight with Eliav Goodbye. It's going to be a really fun show, Claudia. I still can't believe it's already playoff time.
Yeah, this year has absolutely flown by. But I also think it's because this season, I don't know what's different about this season. Maybe it's 2 years, 2-ish years removed from COVID. I don't know. It feels like things really are in full swing, and this season just feels different and has a new energy to it. And also bringing a new energy every single episode is Bruce Cooper. So it's the perfect time to bring him in. Bruce, you still have the lead, so you're coming in smiling for good reason. Spurgeon, I thought we had you last week because we had both chosen Hamilton, but you got us with that Castile game. So you must be feeling pretty good right now.
Well, I tell you what, I think when we finished our little podcast here, we found out we weren't really sure if Khalil Valentine was going to be available or not. And he's truly a home run hitter and a difference maker. And the fact that we later that day found out that he is done for the year, in fact, there is a small possibility if Chandler made it to the championship game that he would be available for that. But that's on the very optimistic side of things. So without him, I just really going to have a hard time picking the Chandler Wolves to reclaim their throne, if you will. But yeah, that was some game that you guys were able to be a part of and witness. I mean, hey, give it up to Matthew Cronetta. I mean, the guy was nails with his place kicking, and I understand the atmosphere. Atmosphere is always great there. I mean, it's always great. I saw the highlights, and so yeah, you guys saw one heck of a game. And so yes, hats off to Coach Sadepski and the Hamilton Huskies. What a game.
I gotta say, it's funny. My husband asked me how was the game, and I was like, well, it was the most boring game I'd ever been to this season
Really?
until it wasn't.
Yeah.
So second half was a totally different story. I was kind of bored to tears, not gonna lie. In the first half, not much happening. Spurge, I'm sure you could agree. And then we changed our game plan how many times? There were how many lead changes? We were like, okay,
I think 4 times at the end of the game.
4 times. Yeah. Hamilton was winning. We're like, okay, we're going to get him, and him. And then 2 minutes later, we'd be like, all right, change of plans. Like, I'm going to go to the Chandler sideline because they're winning. And then next thing you know, Spurge is running back over and he's like, I think it's Hamilton now. So it definitely kept us on our toes, but that's exactly the kind of game we like to be a part of. Also keeping me on my toes is my record right now. I have a lot of ground to make up. I don't know if I can do it, but Coop, just for an update, you're 23-10. Spurs 21-12, and I'm 17-16, so still batting above 500, which is nice. But I'm not sure. You guys might have to start getting more games wrong in order for me to stand a chance here. But I say let's get into it. First matchup is Brophy against Red Mountain. Spurge, I'll let you lead this one off.
This is a really, really good matchup. Red Mountain coming off a really remarkable season. They obviously have a great offense. Lennox Lawson's really been leading the charge. Jacoby Lane's one of the top receivers in the state. The USC commit, Carter Crispin's dealing. And then Brophy's a very interesting team. Slow start this season, really sort of found a groove towards the end of the year. They played Saguaro tough to close the season. I believe it was 14-10. And Jason Jewell has his team playing really, really well at this time of the year. And I didn't really know which way I was going into this game, but I do think that Brophy has a chance to pull off the upset against Red Mountain. I think Jason Jewell's experience with the guys that have grown this year is on another level. And while I do think Red Mountain has had an impressive season, I do think Brophy has faced more tests throughout the year as well. So give me the Broncos 24-21.
Spurge, I can't really disagree with too much that you said. I feel like the Broncos' record doesn't really speak to their abilities in the second half of the season. When you just look at the overarching record, you're kind of like, oh, this is a playoff team. But then you see who they've played and how they've played against them. They've had a really tough second half and a slow first half, like we said. I do think they're playing their best football right now. And I think we had this conversation about the Broncos a few weeks ago, and Bruce was like, I think you're wrong. I think the Broncos are actually really good right now, and I'd have to look back at our records, but I'm pretty sure that Coop was the only one to pick the Broncos in whatever matchup that was, and he was correct. So I think he was on to the Broncos a little early. So I'll be curious to see where you go. I think it comes down to strength of schedule in this case, and I think Brophy's just had. Like I said, they're playing their best football. I think Red Mountain's a great team. I think their offense is really, really good. I just think that the Broncos have the edge right now. So I'm going to go 21-14. And I don't know if that's what you just said. I think you said 10, right? I don't know. Anyways, that's what I'm going with. But Coop, are we all going to agree here? Or are you going to choose Red Mountain this time?
Well, it's going to be hard to disagree with anything you guys have said. I mean, look, I'm a huge Jacoby Lane fan. I just think he's just a phenomenal athlete. He's going to have a great career at the playing on Saturdays and even on Sundays for that matter. But it's just not enough. He's not enough for how Brophy is playing. I mean, they're playing so great defensively here to close out the season. They're playing championship level defense, and defense this time of year carries. I know people look and say, "Wow, 3-7 record." Yeah, 3-7 record. Yeah, like you guys talked about the strength of schedule and just how they're playing. It's tough to go against Jason Jewell and his Brophy Broncos in this one. And so yeah, give me Brophy 17, Red Mountain 14.
Here I was thinking that I'd have the edge picking, but I guess not. All right, next matchup we have is Perry and Highland, a team that we kind of probably all expected to see in the open was the Highland Hawks. I think everybody that I've spoken with on the media side of things, even some coaches I've spoken to, expected to see Highland in the open. A lot of that is because of strength of schedule. Like we were just saying, they've played some really, really tough teams. I do really like Perry this season. I feel like they're doing really well under their new head coach. Like what their program is about. We've done a story on them earlier this year through Bleacher Talk and their focus on mental health. I know that's off the field stuff. I do think that stuff matters. However, it's the postseason. And I think once again, strength of schedule comes into play here. And there's a reason that everyone thought Highland was going to be an open team. I do want to say the back half of Perry's schedule has been very tough. They've played Chandler, Hamilton, Basha just in the last couple of weeks. Doesn't get much more difficult than that. Those are, we're looking at our top 4 seeds for the open division. I think this game is going to be probably closer than most people would expect just because of that, but I still think the Hawks are going to come out with the win. I'm going to go Highland 30-21. Bruce, go ahead and make your pick.
Well, Claudia, you're right in the fact that Perry and Coach Ortiz is, they play in the premier region, which is aptly named because that is the premier region in high school football here in the state. And yet, Basha, Hamilton, Chandler, that's a gauntlet. And yes, that's half of Perry's 6 losses this year is right there. And we haven't even mentioned Castile at all. But it's tough to go against the defending 6A champion Highland Hawks in here. I mean, Brock Farrell, you talk about a championship level defense. That's what he has. His offense has always been the Achilles heel, if you will, for this year. But that offense is starting to turn the corner. I mean, they got the quarterback in place now, getting some after having to sit out for transfer reasons, getting some experience and getting that continuity going. So they're playing better offensively, and I just think they're the better team here. I just don't see Perry being able to pull off the upset here. Yeah, so give me Brock Farrell, his defending 6A champion, Highland Hawks, 28, Perry 7.
Yeah, you guys hit it all there. Highland right now is an open division championship type defense, and the offense is maybe more of a 6A championship level offense. I think you combine those together. I'll say it here in this pick, they're probably, in fact, I'm going to say they are going to win the 6A title and defend it this year. I really think that's the type of game they're playing. Next year, the AIA is going to have to make more adjustments to the computer. Highland not getting in again 2 years in a row. It's kind of, in their eyes, I'm sure a little bit disrespectful. They want that competition. I think if they were a 1 versus 7, they'd give Basha a run for their money, or a 2 versus 7. If they were a 1 versus 8, they'd give Liberty a run for their money because their defense, especially, is that good. They can compete with anybody in the state. And you guys touched on it. Perry's played a great schedule. I've seen some growth from them from early in the season to later, but it's just not going to be enough. But because I do think Highland's offense is still slowly trying to figure it out, and it's definitely behind the defense, do you think Highland's going to win this game? It's going to be a little bit close. I'll say 20-7. I don't know if Perry can score a ton of points against Highland.
Okay, fair enough. Well, the last matchup we've got is Canyon View against Higley. Spurge, why don't you take this one to start?
Yeah, Higley, we've had them twice on Quick Picks, and both times we've all picked them, and both times they've lost. But those just happen to be outlier games for Higley. I finally got a chance to see them a couple weeks ago. I've heard so much about Jamar Malone, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the state, regardless of class, and he's the real deal. I only stayed for a first half because they were running away from it with Campo Verde, and it just looked so easy for them on offense, and defensively they have some guys, especially in the secondary, that I think are big difference makers. And so I really don't think this is going to be too close of a game. I think Higley's a team that they've definitely one of the more higher scoring offenses in the state. They've eclipsed the 40-point, the 50-point marker multiple times this season. So give me the Knights 35-17.
All right, Coop, you agree or disagree with Spurge here?
Hey, look, I agree with just about everything that Spurge says. And look, I don't know a whole lot about Coach Gertz and Canyon View, to be honest with you, but I do know about Eddie Zuby and his Higley Knights. You said it, Spurge. I mean, Jamar Malone's been putting up video game-like numbers. I mean, they have been lighting the scoreboard every Friday night. That offense is well tuned. They're going well, and I don't see them slowing down at all. Give me Higley 52, Canyon View 21.
All right, not a whole lot I can add to this because we're agreeing on pretty much everything this week, it sounds like. I think Higley is maybe the favorite to win the 5A, although I do like the number 1 seed Notre Dame Prep quite a bit. I would love to see them duke it out. I think that'd be one of the most fun games of the season, probably. Higley just has a high-powered defense. You talked about the quarterback, Jamar Malone. I think on both sides of the ball, they're just a really good team right now. Beat Williams Field for the first time, and I think Higley had a much harder schedule. They played Horizon. I believe they lost that game, but still playing Horizon. Early in the season, ALA Queen Creek, which we know is in the Open this year. So I just think the strength of schedule, once again, how many times can we say strength of schedule in one episode of Quick Picks? But it matters a lot at this point, I think. So I'm going to go Higley here as well. I feel like I'm saying around the same scores for everything, but I guess I'm playing it safe. We'll say 21-10. So fully in agreement here. So I'm kind of wondering if some of us wish we went a different way, but Coop, you're sitting pretty in the lead. So you made all the right calls, I think.
Well, let me tell you something. Again, I feel very, very strongly that Highland and Higley will move on in their games. If there's a game I think that we could be wrong on, it would be the Red Mountain Brophy game. But again, I just like the way Brophy has finished the season. I like the way they're playing on the defensive side of the ball. And so give me the Broncos. But I feel pretty confident about what we've done with our quick picks for the week.
Yeah, I do too as well. I'm really looking forward to the final few weeks of this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Bruce, always such a pleasure to have you on. Stick with us when we come back. We'll be at Central High School.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bleacher Talk. I'm Claudia Collins alongside Jordan Spurgeon. We're at Central High School with the head coach Chandler Hovick here with us, looking ahead to the first round of the playoffs. You're playing Desert Edge. I know we're starting off strong with the questions here, but what are you looking forward to in that matchup?
This is a great experience for the boys right now to have this extra week of practice and being out here together and to play such a quality opponent in Desert Edge. We have a lot of respect for those guys. They have great coaches, they have great players. So just as an experience, we're taking this all in and not taking it for granted.
It's playoff time now. Obviously, that's your main focus. But if you had any chance to reflect a little bit on the season, whether you do it on a week-to-week basis or maybe just when the regular season ended, have you had a chance to reflect yet?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's huge in coaching and just playing the sport. After the game against Camelback when we won the region title, our players were in tears. And to see that, to see the hugs going around, to see those guys getting hyped up, that meant everything to me as a coach. Just the hard work that they put in to see that all come to fruition, to win that region championship was awesome. Number 10, our senior Dom Bocci is our quarterback. He is second in the entire state with passing yards at 2,500. He's got 32 touchdowns, and he's only 5'8". And so to have this undersized kid, he transferred in his sophomore year from Notre Dame Prep, and our guys followed him. He's a great leader, and he showed up every day ready to work, and we're extremely excited about what he can do Friday night against Desert Edge. And then Blas Guillen, he's a 4-year player program for us, and he's phenomenal. Just like everything you want in a high school football player. He does what he's supposed to do. He's a great leader on and off the field.
How would you describe their personalities off the field?
They're both really chill dudes. They're kind of just leaders by example, not so much talkers, but they just get the job done.
When you guys won the regional title, Coach already mentioned he got 2 Gatorade baths out of that. But what did that moment mean to you guys? I know this is something as seniors you've been building for a while.
It means a lot to us, especially since we have these, they show our region titles in the gym, and we haven't seen one on football yet. To be able to put one of those banners up for us really means a lot. And now it's been a really long time since Central's been able to show their competition that they are being able to compete in the playoffs with other people like Desert Edge.
What do you think it is about your team this season that is maybe special and different from the last few years?
I would say our team chemistry and resilience is significantly higher than previous teams because we can get hit in the mouth, we can kind of get pushed around and still figure out a way to win. We tend to find ways to win this season a lot better. We've had some ugly wins, we've had some pretty wins, but we just overall finding a way to win.
When you won the region title, was there a Gatorade bath or anything inbound for you?
Yeah, there's actually 2 of them. It was about 50 degrees outside, so I wasn't feeling the best when I woke up the next morning, a little chilly, but it was awesome at the time. But I got 2 Gatorade baths. That was special.
I know as coaches you don't always like to look at the numbers and the record and all of that, but with a 9-1 record, how do you feel about the seeding and how that played out for you all?
I think it was fair, we played who we played on our schedule. Desert Edge had a really tough schedule. They're the 6th seed with 3 losses, but at the same time, they played who was on their schedule. So I don't think we were disrespected in any way at 9-1 with the 11th seed. Our boys are ready, and they're excited about playing Desert Edge.
All right, what makes this group of guys special?
The brotherhood that they have. These guys really love being with each other. We don't have to beg these guys to come in over the off-season Monday through Friday when people are on vacation. They love grinding it out in the weight room and putting in that extra work, so that's what makes them special.
What's been the biggest difference you've seen with some of the growth, especially your seniors now after seeing them for a few years? What's been the biggest difference you've seen from them?
Yeah, so these seniors, these were my babies when we took over the program 4 years ago. So they understand what our standard is. They understand what our culture is about. So they're able to lead the underclassmen, so they understand what the standard is now when they're seniors. And so just those guys being able to lead and that commitment, that hard work that they've been doing these past 4 years, and it paid off.
All right, you talked leaders and you talked weight room. So who are the leaders in the weight room?
Our strongest, biggest dude who never misses a day is our middle linebacker, Aaron Francis. He's a 4-year starter for us. He's our middle linebacker. He's our leading tackler and has the most sacks on the team. Dom Bocci, our quarterback. I know maybe quarterbacks are the pretty boys. They miss a couple days in the weight room, but Dom gets after it, and he always holds everyone accountable. And then our line, Blas Guillen, is a senior too. He never misses a day, and he's the leader of the line.
Are you in there pushing weight with them too?
I'm not pushing weight, but I'm in there. Yeah. Those guys are getting pretty strong. during the season, I call that my off time, my hibernation. And then once the season's over, I try to start lifting again so they don't embarrass me in the summer. But they're a little stronger than me right now.
How would you describe the coaching style for this team?
It's great. It's definitely not for everybody. It's definitely difficult at times, but it is great, and I believe we definitely have the best coaches. They're definitely some of the most passionate coaches in the state. They put the most time in for sure, all across the board, all 5 of our varsity coaches. They hold us accountable because it's their baby too. So like they put a lot of time and effort into designing plays or formations for us to be successful in the best possible scenario. So like if we don't perform, then yes, they're gonna get mad. Yeah, because they put in the work and they feel like they should get some sort of reciprocation from us for all their work, and they should. So
Has practice changed at all with playoffs ahead, or is the music different, mentality? What's changed between the last week?
I think the intensity's definitely picked up. Even last week in the region championship, ever since our loss to Casa Grande, we knew that we were going to have to win out to have a shot at the playoffs. So every game really has been a must-win for us. So it's been important that we're taking practice seriously every day, every rep. So that's kind of been the mentality the entire year. But definitely the intensity's picked up a little bit with playoffs started.
For those that haven't been able to catch Central football this year, what should they know? What's the identity of this team, whether it's on the field or off?
We're an extremely physical team. We're extremely fast, and these guys are really disciplined and really smart. So these guys are in their playbook. We watch a lot of film. We're not getting silly penalties, undisciplined penalties, and these guys just get after it together. We got 11 hats flying to the ball defensively, and offensively we have a ton of playmakers, and that's what we rely on.
Is there a motto or phrase you guys have sort of lived by this year that you guys created, that coaches created?
Every week we usually change it, try to get a new word. Like last week it was relentless, so being relentless, try not to give up. This week it was believe, making sure we believe in ourselves that we can compete with these higher teams and just believe in each other as teammates, just that we could work together to get this win on Friday.
Believe on me, believe on 3. 1, 2, 3. Believe. Let's go, hustle.
Welcome back to Bleacher Talk. I'm Jordan Spurgeon alongside Claudia Collins. And of course, social spotlight time. Eliav Gabai is here, bowing. This time in person. You've been bowing on Zoom recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, courtesy from Claudia as well. We're still here out at Central High School, but Eliav, you've got so much social spotlight to show us, so let's dive right into it.
The postseason is here. Thank God we're
Feels
happy
so
about
good.
it. Of course. And that means we have some snubs, folks. And we're going to start with pulling up AZHSFB. Shout out to them for this poll. Listen, I can't disagree with the people here. Highland, in my opinion, is the team that feels like it's missing from the top 8. No disrespect to Castile or Notre Dame Prep. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I said it earlier on Quick Picks today with Bruce Cooper. I really feel that Highland is now a lock to win the 6A title. I think they're the team to beat, and it's not particularly close. There's a couple good games potentially in the playoffs for them, but if they were in the open division, their defense wasn't good enough for them to compete against a Basha in a 2-7 game or compete against Liberty in a 1-8 game, because their defense is that good. It's good enough to win an open title, not just be in the open. So I know 3rd year in a row now they feel like they've been snubbed. All they can do is go get another ring and win the 6A title. So I feel for them, but at the end of the day, they're probably en route to another championship.
I think it really is a bummer too, because I brought it up earlier as well, but ALA Queen Creek didn't really want to be in it because they want that state championship. That's where they know they'll succeed. It's a new division for them, so that's where they wanted to be. So seeing a team like Highland that not only do we feel deserves to be in it, but wants to be in it and wants to be in the open, which is, I mean, those are the premier teams. Those are the 8 to watch, and I think we don't have the top 8 teams this year. I wonder if part of it is just the need to have 5A teams, 6A, a variety in the open. I don't know if the algorithm includes something like that, like, oh, we got to throw a few in there, what that looks like, but I don't think I can disagree here. I expected to see Highland in the open.
That's a great point, because it seems like the algorithm does need a little bit of tweaking moving forward. But what we did talk about earlier in the show, Coach Hovick getting 2 Gatorade baths. That's pretty awesome. here we go with Marcos Deniza's head coach, Anthony Figueroa, getting his Gatorade bath. That's right, the Padres going a monstrous 9-1 on the season as well, and walking away with that 4A Desert Sky Region Championship. But let's just take a look at them finding out that they are hosting the first round.
You can see these games will be played.
I mean, it doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get better than that. You love the energy, and they deserve it. They really do.
Yeah, we got to catch up with them earlier on this season when they were kind of catching steam and just being in their weight room and catching them in the field in the rain on that day, flying the drone around. They were just so locked in, and Coach Figueroa is a really great coach. The players are all bought in. So I know we don't necessarily root for certain teams, but very happy to see what they're doing, and best of luck to them in the playoffs.
Absolutely. What do you think?
I mean, I'm excited. I love the reaction videos.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
love when you bring those up overall. Really fun reaction from the whole team there. I expected nothing less from getting to know them earlier this season, so that was fun to watch.
Absolutely, Claudia. Now, here's something I know you're going to like. Mr. Elijah Rushing just put up his top 12. Of course, the South Point kid did put in U of A there. Also Michigan, also Georgia. No, not the Sun Devils. I'm sure you might have expected that one. And obviously, I'm biased, hoping the kid stays in Tucson. But what do y'all think?
I'm excited about releasing the top 12. He's one of the top prospects to look at right now. I think it's going to be a ways away before we get a decision from him, so I'm not looking too far into it, but excited to see where he ends up. That's definitely a guy that, I bring up regularly on the recruiting roundup. Very talented. Hope to see his progress.
Yeah, being a Tucson kid, it's really awesome to see that Jed Fish is trying to keep one of the best players in his, not just in his state, but in his region, trying to keep him home. Not sure what the relationship is there, but obviously good enough to be in the top 12. So it'll be interesting to see where that plays out for Jalen Rushing.
Yes, like Claudia mentioned. A long ways to go, but this is always fun nonetheless. Now, the last one, shout out to Hamilton. Another thing we always love to see, Arizona high school football athletes meeting up in college. This time it was Tyler Shuck, who plays for TTU, and Quentin Lassiter, who plays for Kansas. Not much more to add other than we love to see it. That's all I got to say.
Cactus represents. That's always the AZ high school football media thing. Someone from Arizona high school does something on Saturday, and there's just a quote sheet with Cactus.
Yeah.
That sums it up perfectly.
And words of recruiting roundup, let's keep them here.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah, agreed. Also, just love seeing these players' relationships go beyond high school. Obviously, I did not play high school football, but there's something to be said about the bond that's made on this field, so it's always fun to see.
Yep, that's all I got.
Thank you, Eliav. We appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to Bleacher Talk. Playoffs are here. Action's getting pretty chaotic on quick picks between me and Coop, and Claudia working her way back
Let's
up
go,
one
Claudia.
game
Let's go.
at a time. Eliav, thanks for joining us. We'll see you all next week.